The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are not necessarily representative of the coalition or any other entity. This content is intended for mature audiences only.
What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 122. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I am joined by Emilio Lopez.
What's up, people? How you doing?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, what up, everyone?
Adam Vale.
Brooklyn for life.
And joining us tonight, Mr. Richard Bailey Jr.
What's up, everybody?
All right, people. We don't know what happened to Brett or Brian. Hopefully, they'll join us later. I'm gonna get right into it, man. Like the main topic is just like I've been wanting to do the show specifically for this all week. Let's get right into it, man. Okay, so a certain game was, the embargo lifted for a certain game, Horizon Zero Dawn, and as you would expect, since the review embargo lifted a week before the game came out, they were pretty positive, right? But to no one's surprise, the Xbots went crazy, just like they did with Uncharted 4, right? Media bias, all this bullshit, the same stuff. Sony's paying off developers or publications, even though Sony supposedly broke. All the same bullshit. And I had a field day. Like, whenever I wasn't playing the game, I would just be on Twitter laughing my ass off. Crap Gamer had a meltdown, it was like, Xbox fans, we got to hold the line. Like, what? Really? You motherfuckers are just losing it, man. So, by the way, I do want to say I did want to do a video on this on Tony's Takes, but I was too busy playing, Unlike these Xbox guys, they have fucking Halo Wars 2 came out this week. These niggas ain't talking about it. They're shit on a Sony game. We're going to talk about Halo 2 in a bit, Halo Wars 2 in a bit, but let's just get into it. Manny, you and I were discussing this earlier today when we were talking about our featured image, which Manny did a hell of a job again. You had Master Chief crying, what's your take on this silliness?
It's weird. It's so weird to me because it's like, okay, granted, it's like, okay, these good reviews came out for Horizon, but that, to be honest, if Xbox fans are really supportive of their consoles, why aren't they just talking about the new Halo game?
That's not a Halo game. That's an RTS.
Here's the thing. That's also the problem, because it's not the Xbox-y Halo first-person shooting game. It's the
Xbox.
It's the it's the RTS one, which is kind of like the more thinking man's Halo game. But it's kind of sad that it has to just kind of boil that. It's like, guys, you gotta, if you really want this thing to happen, you gotta support the games that are there. That means you gotta go out and buy friggin' Quantum Break. You gotta go get your Gears of War. You gotta support that shit, as much as you can.
Yeah,
but it doesn't. I mean, here's the thing. I remember like last generation, right? With when Xbox was the top, was at least the second dog under Nintendo, but like all the games are all coming out for the thing. But you know what? I wasn't crying and moaning about good reviews of Halo. I was like, hey, that's great. Gears of War, getting great reviews. I'm like, this is cool. I mean, like, I didn't see that the console was for me at the time, but I wasn't going to complain about a good score for a game that was actually good.
Yeah, there's a reason for that, though, Manny, because you're not a fanboy. You don't care.
Yeah, here's the thing. But I mean, I'm sure people are going to see it like because I don't own an Xbox that I don't, own an Xbox One that somehow am of just a Sony fanboy. But the thing is I'm open to buying an Xbox, and I'm just looking for reasons. There just has to be enough reasons for me to pick up an Xbox, Yeah,
exactly. But at least you're not hating on it like these guys,
No, I wouldn't. No, I mean, to be honest, it's like, I'm Gears of War. I always thought they were really stellar games. I've always enjoyed the lore of the friggin' Halo games. I always used to, like, whenever I used to visit Chris and stuff or visit Adam, I'd be engrossed in the shit as much as they were watching them play. I mean, I used to love playing like split screen, like Gears of War with Adam. That was cool. So, but the thing is like it's sad that that they have to get all bent out of shape just because something might be getting a good review.
Yeah, but again, they're always with that media bias. These guys are sounding like Trump supporters, right? Media bias, fake news, all this shit. I'm like, really? The persecution complex, It's weird.
It's the media bias. The thing is that, like, I don't think that Sony's paying people off to get good reviews. Not like Square was doing.
Oh. Right, Rich, getting here. What do you make of all this silliness?
Well, I personally think that the low moment of the week came when I saw their reaction to Mike Ybarra and Phil Spencer, basically congratulating Guerrilla Games on a great game. And yet they come after them and say, oh, no, you have to remain strong to the brand. Now,
remain Xbox strong. Remember, that's the new hashtag now. I am Xbox strong. I don't know if you saw that.
That's it.
They're pestering guys because, like you said, Mikey Barr came out. Hey, congratulations to Guerrilla Games, Sony, right? And then these guys, what are you doing, Mike? You got to stay Xbox strong, bruh.
Oh my god,
crazy, man!
Yeah, the thing
they did that with Naughty Dog. Remember when Naughty Dog? Same thing. Xbox.
Yeah, they did it with Naughty
Uncharted
Dog.
4. That was a great game. I mean, it's a studio. You gotta give shout outs when the props are due.
Exactly. And the other thing is, it's like, why, I think people need to just, I think I said this on Twitter. I'm like, you realize these people aren't freaking console war. We've gone to shows. We've seen these developers sitting right next to each other. We see like freaking Yoshida sitting next to a Microsoft guy. We see all kinds of
fake news, man.
crazy things
fake
like that.
News, son.
Fake news, man.
I mean,
literally, here. People shaking hands, kissing babies.
Literally, we see like there's a shot of Yoshida playing the Nintendo Switch, and seeing him with Microsoft guys. Here's the thing: these people don't think of it this way. It's only you crazy ass fans out there that think, "Oh my God, you got to be strong, you got to do this." Listen, they're like the thing is that one thing about that all that rigmarole and all that bullshit is that all it does is it kind of drives sales sometimes. So, they might play with you, they might troll you guys a little bit and be like, oh, like what Yoshida did with the sharing games for Xbox. But really, there is no hard feelings between these people.
These fools don't understand that how much cross-pollination there is between studios and publishers. Nintendo and Microsoft are literally across the street from each other. You know how much people go from one to the other?
Exactly.
There's no boundaries. There's no like Nintendo's its own country and Microsoft's its own country, and they're at war with each other. That's ridiculous. That's a completely made up fantasy made up by petty people like Crap Gamer and his ilk to foster something that doesn't exist.
Yeah, no, these guys are insane. But Rich, did you see anything else that caught your eye during the week besides that silliness? Like when you like start harassing like executives, you really know you're crazy, man. But did you see anything else on Twitter?
Well, I mean, I just was going to say, I did see what Phil Spencer said. He also said that, that really it's not supposed to be a console war. Gaming, anyone who is a true gamer, they love everything. So you don't want to hear about games getting canceled. You don't want to hear about a company doing bad. You want to see everybody succeed because that's a real gamer. And I thought that was interesting. He said that, and yet the people who are supporting Xbox strong, they seem to disagree. And they said, no, you need to only be talking about Xbox.
Yeah.
So I don't get that. I just was going to add that, I mean, when I first saw Horizon Zero Dawn, I knew that this game there was something that was special about it because, again, these are the guys that made Killzone. So already this is like, whoa, the guys that made Killzone made this game? So
believe it.
I think, whenever a good game comes out, you got to give praise. It doesn't really matter what system it's on, but obviously, Sony, they're doing an excellent job this generation with the games they're releasing. So you have to give them props. As simple as that.
Yeah, by the way, you just gave me a perfect little bit of a segue here because I guess adding more fuel to the fire were some of the comments that some journalists said. This is from Jason Schreier. He works for Kotaku, and he rightly said, for the past 2 years, okay, he goes, past 2 years have really put an end to any PlayStation 4 versus Xbox One debate. Not really a fair fight anymore. Scorpio needs to do something totally new. And he goes, Microsoft clearly can't compete with Sony exclusives. They should take the living room PC approach with Scorpio, succeed where Valve failed. These are pretty sensible things to say, right? You know what happened after that. This man was attacked by a sea of purple M's. Like I'm pretty sure like his like mentions just died, you know. So then after that, he tweets out, he goes, Twitter tip: if you say something negative about the Xbox, be prepared to block a lot of accounts with Scorpio symbols. Another Twitter tip, and this is something we say on Throwdown all the time: if you feel loyalty to a multi-billion-dollar corporation and doesn't pay you, it's time to log off for a while.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for saying that. But he got shitted on. And then Paul Tassi from Forbes, right? He wrote an article where it was called like the gap is like a fucking gulf or something like that, right? He got it. These guys, and he went so far as to like make fun of him. Like he impersonated an Xbox fan, and he made sure to replace every single M with the purple M. It was hilarious, you know. But now it like, and I've noticed a couple other journalists noticing that like, hell yeah, people with this symbol are kind of crazy. So now they're understanding, you know. Go ahead, Rich.
I have a quick question. So why is the M purple and not green? These guys supposed to be representing Xbox, right? So why the hell isn't the M
rebels,
green?
man? They're rebels, don't you know? You can't go along with the corporate, logo. Green, we purple.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point.
Punch him in the face a bunch of times.
Well, it's only purple because the icon thing is purple.
Yeah, but you're right. They didn't go the extra step to make it green. But yeah, because
you can't change the color of that thing. It's like making a smiley. You know, with it's a thing that's in the phone or in
the emoji,
the emoji. So you can't change the color of the emoji.
Can we have an honest discussion here?
We're always having an honest discussion. Hey, there's Brett.
Let's go back to the whole Manny thing. Something that Manny always repeats. Why is releasing a new console getting into our good graces? Like, isn't this shit like what is this shit supposed to be about, Manny?
It's supposed to be about the games. It's always about the games.
Yeah, so like Microsoft has released like one exclusive game that like this year, like while the competitor has released like I've lost fucking count now.
Do they have Forza Horizon? That's an exclusive.
This year.
Yeah. Was that this year? I don't know. It was just a month ago. Wasn't it?
No, Carlos, I'm gonna take that little challenge right now. Let's do this, right? Okay. Microsoft released Halo Wars 2, right? That came out. Sony, what have they released this year exclusives? They're gonna release this. They've released
Neo,
this Yakuza 0. They have Neo. They have Gravity Rush 2. That's what I'm saying, Carlos. Your point is, it's like literally 5-1. You know?
Yeah. So they're gonna release a Scorpio. Yeah, brand new launch. So what is it gonna play? What? Yeah, it's gonna look better. Sea of Thieves might look better. Is that gonna get released? State of Decay is gonna get announced. C3 is it gonna get released this year with the Scorpio? State of Decay 2, that is. We don't know. So let's hold our optimism until we see something conclusive, until they announce something worth getting excited about.
Well, the problem is that Carlos,
the internet works.
No, the problem is this is not how people confident in their choices act. See, the way that all the BGST guys and all these purple Scorpio symbol guys act is coming from a point of insecurity, meaning they have to constantly stick to their guns and try to downplay the competition because they really don't have a leg to stand on. And that's been their whole problem. Yes, Horizon is getting props. Phil Spencer and Mike Ibarra did the classy thing. That's what you do when you can honor your competition and say, "Hey, good job with that," right? But they're so insecure, they're so small that they have to just try to stab and tear down the competition because they are not winning. You know, they're not on that level. And it's sad to see that. It's like, you know, it's like a child throwing a tantrum, only the tantrum is grown men and there's hundreds of them, you know?
You know, by the way, the funny thing is the comments that Jason Schreier said, Phil Spencer responded to those, right? We're going to get to that in a bit, right? But the only reason he found out about that is because one of the fans saw it and ran to Phil going, Daddy, look what he said about us. Hey, by the way, Brett, how are you doing, man? Can you? I know you can hear us, but we can't hear you.
Not too bad. Finally settled in a little bit.
Nice. So yeah, you didn't miss too much. Remember last year when Uncharted 4 came out, and the week beforehand, like when it got great reviews, like the Xbox fans went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing just happened again with Horizon.
We just
that's what we're talking about, right? The same fucking thing.
We just had a deja vu.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Whoa.
Do you have anything to add to this, or are you gonna? This is what I like about you, Brett. Like usually when I ask you a question, you get really philosophical and shit. With stuff like this, you usually go, "Yeah, it's fucking stupid."
It is. It is like everybody's just getting like their panties in a bunch about something that they. Okay, I'll get a little philosophical on you. Like,
do it.
The best way I can describe like objective truth is, and I was explaining it to this way to somebody recently. Objective truth is like a place. It's like a thing. Imagine it like a planet in space, right? And we all can be, different distances from it, and we can all see it from different angles. Now, nobody can know the whole truth. Nobody can see the whole thing, right? But we can see it from one angle, and we can communicate with other people who see it from different angles. And through our equal communication and learning, we can learn reality. The universe can be known, right? Unfortunately, this is a thought that runs completely countercurrent to the social justice movement and the idea that my narrative is just as good as anybody else's narrative. But I'm going to go ahead and not pay attention to their point of view because it doesn't fucking make any sense, and it hasn't for the last couple thousand years. That's why it's not a branch of philosophy. It's just a bunch of whiny people crying about their own experiences. So the point that I'm making is this. The objective truth as to how this game is, the planet that it represents how good the game is, there are only certain people who have flown to that quadrant, that sector of space. There are only certain people who have been able to see it. Yeah, you might be able to see it through a telescope. You might be able to learn everything that everybody else has given you secondhand about it. But here's the thing. You're bitching about something that you haven't seen. You're bitching about an objective truth of which you have yet to approach. Wait, get the game. If your opinion still differs that much, then you can argue about what side of truth and where you guys are seeing. Generally, it's going to come down to if somebody finds something good in something, there's value in that. That value is there. Now, that value may be hard to find. Not everybody may be able to see it, but it's generally there. So, play the game, make your own opinion. But as far as your right to comment on something that you aren't even in the neighborhood of informed on is laughable, and I don't see how you have the audacity to fucking go out in public like that.
Yeah, especially like screaming at executives and stuff. And by the way, we should all listen to Brett because he has a poster of Tyrion Lannister behind him. Just got to put that out there. But yeah, these guys are just silly. The harassment of the executives is what I love the most. Like, you guys are just nuts.
But it's over what? Like you have
nothing, man.
Well, this is my point. By principle, by definition, your argument is unsubstantiated because you don't have access to the information you would need to argue your point because it hasn't been released yet.
But Brett, media bias, man. It's always for Sony. It's always against
Microsoft. I don't care about media bias. Yeah. Like it has nothing to do with it. This is a common sense issue.
Brett, there is no common sense in Fanboy. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Chris.
it's just the scope of this that's enlarged. It's no different than taking two grade schoolers and one of them brings in his Hot Wheels and the other kid just happens to have a remote control drone. And so the other kid's like, well, my Hot Wheels is better, and he takes the drone and smashes it. That's what you have here.
No,
But
you
on
know
an
what it is?
adult
The
scale.
guy has a Hot Wheels car, and then another guy says, I've got a drone at home that's better than this. And they get into an argument as to which is better, the Hot Wheels car or the drone, which is at this point Schrodinger's cat. Like, you're familiar with Schrodinger's cat, like, right? Like, we don't know what this game is. You can't argue that the thing that you have in your hand, or this thing, or that thing, or the other thing, is better or worse than this. That kid could be a liar. He could not have a drone at all. It could be a piece of shit.
It was even better because I saw Crap Gamer trying to argue that the action adventure genre was a niche genre, and I was like,
what?
I was like, whoa! I didn't take my crazy pills this morning. It's too early for this shit.
I think he's confusing niche with the word default.
No, it's just you just need that Inigo Montoya thing. It's like that word doesn't mean what you think it means, you know?
The action adventure genre is so niche, right? God of War, Tomb Raider, Assassin's Creed, Uncharted,
Gears of War.
Gears of War. Come on, man! Like action adventure genre is the most generic shit out there. You're gonna tell me that it's niche? Fucking stupid, you know? And these guys are dumb.
It's not a fucking point and click adventure, goddammit.
Yeah.
And even those aren't that niche anymore. You know, by the way, we got a little bit of a response to that later. But yeah, these guys are fucking idiots. Like Brett said, you haven't played the fun game. But here's the thing. They've already made up their minds. So even if here's the funny thing, just to roll back a little bit. What I find hilarious about all this is if Horizon was an Xbox game, all these same guys that are saying it's stupid, that it just has a cave bitch, I'm quoting someone, a cave bitch in it, they would love the fucking game. But because it's on another console that they could actually probably afford since it's $250, they got to shit on it. It's fucking dumb. You know, every fucking time with these idiots, every time, you know.
Good words to live by are don't hold strong opinions about things you know very little about.
Yes.
And that comes across as derogatory, but if you look at the actual words that were said, like it applies. Like there are times when you're like, I don't have access to this information. There's nothing wrong with being ignorant. All right. Ignorant means you're not aware of the facts, but you should always try and educate yourself. But like, let's be honest, like I'm fucking ignorant to how this game is because I don't know. I don't have access to that information. My opinion cannot be stated. Even if you go back and listen, like I'll bitch about the order, but I'll still talk about how, like, look, I can't say when I bitched about the order anything about the gameplay or anything about the polish or anything about the actual game itself. I could just only strictly speak on the linked to value and how I felt about that. And I tapped out of everything else. Like, I hate to be like, you guys should do what I do, but like, that's how you need to approach a game. If you don't understand something about it, don't make an opinion on that. But if you can make opinions based on things that you know, you can argue about the trailers, you can talk about how hyped you are for this game or how much you can bet money on whether or not this game is going to be the next big thing for Sony or an overblown IP hype circus that ends up resulting in like a fart in the wind or eyes. So that is legitimate discussion. Like, we can all talk about this. Why are you spending your time fucking talking about shit that you don't know? We're nerds. We love to argue. So argue about the trailers. Argue about what you know. Argue about the premise.
Argue about the fact that it has dinosaurs. Come on,
yes!
man. I mean, that's
motherfucking dinosaurs, man. Robotic dinosaurs. Let's go.
Argue about the fact that your favorite kind of dinosaur isn't in there. I mean, it's
yes.
There's plenty to argue about. Argue about that shit. Like we can all have fun. We can all have a lively discussion. Just don't go talking shit on things that you don't know on like the full quality of the game. Like, at least get it secondhand from a reputable source instead of based
like your boy. I'm gonna throw this shit in people's faces until this shit comes out, man. But no, you're right. Everything you're saying is truth. As a matter of fact, we need to have a saying. You know how they have what would Jesus do? We need to have what would Brett do. like WWBD. That's some real shit right there, man. But you gave me a perfect segue. Unless anybody wants to say any last words on this, I'm gonna take that as a no. Okay, this game isn't out yet, right? It's a Sony game. The Xbox guys probably won't play yet. An Xbox game did come out this week, and they're not talking about that. Halo Wars 2. So since they're not going to talk about it, we're going to talk about it. And luckily for us, Mr. Richard Bailey wanted to be on Throwdown to tell us about it. And since we like to tell you about all the hottest games, we're going to do that right now. Rich, man, tell us about these Halo Wars, man.
All right, so let me go ahead and start off and say right now, this game is not for everybody. That's not really taking a shot. I mean, you guys already mentioned earlier on the show, it's not really a typical Halo type of game. It's not a first-person shooter. It is a real-time strategy game. So that means that you're constantly building up your forces and moving them towards the enemy. But the issue with the game is just that right there. You know, the fact that Halo is in there, you know, you see a lot of Halo cutscenes, so on and so forth. All of that stuff is great. But the actual game itself, with the actual real-time playing, it's very time-consuming. You know, I actually have a review that I am working on, but it took a while to get through that review because it's just, you know, everything is real slow, especially on the
just to clarify before you get too far into this, because I'm trying to picture this in my mind, is this more StarCraft Command and Conquer, or are we talking something more like a squad-based top-down?
No, it's StarCraft.
Okay.
Yeah, it is that. You know, basically just, you know, you're able to select all your units at once or individually and use them to try to strategize to take out enemies, so on and so forth. So yeah, it is like StarCraft, but the thing about it is that, you know, a lot of RTSs, mainly on PC, this is on the console, so it's as if the movements are a lot slower. When I was playing, you know, literally waiting for one group to get to another group and just sitting there waiting for them to get there. By the time they get there, the group that was waiting for them and needed assistance is already dead. So I mean, again, it's not necessarily a bad game. It's just that you have to have patience to play it. That's why I said it's not a game for everybody. The fact that it is connected to the Halo universe is.
Can I import the Protos from StarCraft so that way they could fly over and help?
Oh no, you cannot do that.
Yeah, I mean they can speed things up, and then I could win the match.
Oh no, Microsoft will shut that down, man. They will not allow that to happen.
Okay, just make it.
But I mean, if there's one thing that I did say in the review that I like about it, it's that they do have one of the main villains in the game, the main villain. I would say that's probably one of the better villains that they've had in any Halo game. And basically, it's one of the brutes that has basically rebelled against the Covenant. But the way they tell his story is very interesting. I mean, the whole game, you're basically fighting through his different people in his faction to get to him eventually. But of course, you know, with the way that it ends, you know, because this is a Halo game, it has to end on a cliffhanger. And yeah, you know, just so that we can have more games in the future, more Halo games in the future. So that's that.
But is it going to be another? Is it going to be another RTS game? Are they going to try and build this out into a franchise, or is the story going to pick up elsewhere in the world?
Well, I think the way this ended, it's definitely going to be another Halo Wars. This character may get crossed over into Halo 6 because this game takes place at the end of Halo 5. So I would be very surprised if some of these characters didn't appear in the next Halo game also, the actual real Halo game.
Now, Richard, let me ask you, how do you feel about putting characters in multiple iterations of games? Do you feel like that's a bonus for the faithful, or do you feel like it's kind of holding people hostage for the whole story?
Oh, you just mean the fact that there's more than one Halo game?
Well, I mean, like in games like where Assassin's Creed was a little guilty of this, but games where you have to play like the handheld or this other game or this other version to get, you know, the full story. Do you like those games? Do you like having to dig through and get all the little bits through different games and different consoles, or do you feel like that's pretty much them holding the story hostage and extorting money out of you?
Well, actually, no, I'm not really a fan of that type of practice. Only say that because I don't really have a good gaming PC. If there was a version that was released on PC, and then I have to continue it on PC from playing it on Xbox or PlayStation 4, then I would have a problem with that. But yeah, I don't really think I'm a fan of the way that they do this. I know they have the I don't know if this is a good example with Fallout Shelter. They had that, and then they had Fallout 4. I believe that those games they're somewhat two different games.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't think they cross over.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I'm not. I mean, I guess it depends on how it's done. But I would say I probably wouldn't be a fan of that. If I purchased a game outright, $60, I want to get the full experience. I don't want to have to buy something else to continue that experience.
Isn't that the same problem you had with Halo 5? Where you felt like the story was too dependent on some of the supplemental things, like you needed to read the books and shit in order to understand what's going on?
Absolutely. And I do know that we had a few people that one individual in particular that read that review tried to tell me I was wrong before they even played the game, which I thought was interesting.
I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about. May he rest in peace. But yeah, it's just that it's just that that requires too much. With Halo 5, the issue was that Master Chief, I'm thinking that this is the first Halo game on the Xbox One. We're not talking about the Master Collection. I'm talking about the first new Halo game on the Xbox One. So I would think Master Chief should be a prominent character featured in that game, and this guy isn't even in half of the game. So I was annoyed about that.
Yeah, they had Luke Cage in that shit, right? He was the main character.
Oh yeah, man, he was all over there. Spartan Locke, he was all over there. The next game, they'll both be in the next game, but they have to have Master Chief in the next game because of the way that this game ends. They have this whole thing setting up with Cortana, and at the end of the game, spoiler alert, if you haven't played it by now, well, you're not really a Halo fan.
You don't know me. You don't know me and my business.
Yeah, well,
times are hard, man.
Just say it, Rich. Don't worry about these motherfuckers, man.
All right. Well, I will just say this. They set it up so that at the end of Halo 5, Cortana now is going to be the main villain in the next game. So that could be interesting. But it all depends how they do with that. But just to get back to Halo Wars 2, I will, full disclosure, I haven't really played too many real-time strategy games prior to this. So coming into this was, it requires a bit of a learning curve. The game is very difficult as you get deeper into the game because it's like, and it doesn't really matter if you change the settings. Of course, I didn't play on easy settings. I kept it on normal.
That's right.
But it's just that it gets difficult because you have to constantly manage your team, manage your resources, and then manage, everything that you need, your base as well, protecting your bases. But it is, for what it's worth, I will say Creative Assembly did a good job on the game. 343, I think the story was a little bit better than Halo 5. But obviously, they still have to prove themselves with this franchise. So we'll see what happens moving forward. But if there is anybody that is a Halo fan, they absolutely want to, they absolutely need a Halo game, they definitely should pick this up. If they are a Halo fan, or if they are interested in a real-time strategy game, it's not worth. It is worth picking up. But if you are not interested in Halo, you're not interested in those type of games, then no, do not buy this game. Don't even bother.
Now, what about somebody who's not necessarily into Halo games, but does like RTSs? Does it hold up on its own, or is this more a game for Halo fans?
Well, I will say this. If you do like RTSs, you may like it. The Halo thing is only really uses the backdrop to add more to it. I'm into the Halo series, so that was what got me interested in trying out the game. It's definitely accessible to anybody that actually gives it a chance and wants to try it out. So I would say that. But again, one thing I'm going to say this is very important. You know, I definitely will recommend you play the game on PC because, you know, the PC, this is one of the games where it's not Xbox Play Anywhere because of the way it's set up. So you can't have a PC and play against somebody on Xbox One because of the type of game it is. But I would recommend playing on PC because, you know, keyboard and mouse, it'll be a lot quicker for you to get around than if you're playing on the console using a controller.
The Xbox doesn't have like drivers for like it does. It has driver support for keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's my thing. I don't know if you could, Rich. I don't know if you could, like speak about this, but I heard that like the game is it's a very simplified RTS game, right? I was wondering if the same thing applies to the PC version. I don't know if you could speak to that. Like, I'm wondering, is it one way on the console and a different way on PC? But I'm thinking it's the same on both. It's just a simplified RTS
it's fun on the PC because of the mouse and keyboard, and it's difficult if you're on console using a controller. The thumbsticks just never worked for RTS.
But you know what I mean? Like with an RTS game, there's a billion commands and stuff, but I heard this game, simplifies all that.
The other thing, one thing I will say about that, the PC version is a little bit better because I did have a couple of bugs on the console version. The people who I have known that have been playing PC version, they haven't encountered any issues at all. So yeah, that's why I say the console version is probably better. Because I mean, again, this is a franchise that started out on PC, so the PC version by default will be better. But yeah, I definitely say you need to play it on PC versus the console because you need to play the best version possible.
Yeah, you can say that with any Xbox game now.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Gears of War RTS. I could see that coming soon.
You could see,
listen.
Yeah.
See, this is what I would say though, and this would be my public service announcement to Microsoft. I have respect for Gears. I have respect for Halo. I have respect for Forza, but we need some new IPs. You know, they need to stop canceling games like Scalebound and all this other stuff. You know, they need to actually try out these other IPs and just try to see whether or not they'll be successful.
Microsoft has canceled more IPs this generation than they've actually released, bro. It's crazy, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, but we'll see about that.
Too much.
So thank you for filling us in on Halo. Again, guys, if you're on Xbox, stop bitching about Horizon. Go buy this game. Come on, support the brand, right? Xbox strong, right? Hold the line like Braveheart. Come on, guys.
All right. Are they taking pictures of Braveheart and changing his makeup green?
No, they haven't done that. They're too lazy. They've also used pictures of the Patriot.
Tony,
what's up, man?
You know what happens to them at the end, right?
Yeah, I know what happens to him. Hung, drawn, and quartered, right? Isn't it all that? You get castrated and all this. Hey, if that's what you want, hold the line, guys. Hold the line. Okay, so moving on here. Okay, so going back a little bit, Jason Schreier, when he made those comments, right? One of the Xbox fans took those comments over to Phil Spencer, and Phil Spencer replied with, he disagrees. Like, no, I actually think the Xbox is having a great generation. As a matter of fact, Xbox One is the best Xbox generation. I'll let you guys go off.
He really needs to say more words when he says vague fucking statements like that. Like,
that's not vague. Okay, Brent, I'm actually glad you said something because I want to go to you first. But okay, I understand Phil's position, right? This is the same. He's in the same position as an artist that releases a new album. You have to say your newest album is your best work. But come on, man. We all know the 360 was like the golden era of Xbox. Xbox One ain't shit compared to 360. Let's just be honest here. Brent, you have a 360, bro?
Yeah, I did, but people view this like there's a weird dichotomy in groups here on how they view this. Like, some people will look back and say, I remember those days. Like, I remember that was the golden age. Some people will view those games by today's standards, and technically by today's standards, games have gotten better. They've evolved. So as they look at it, they can look at an entire library of games, and without a nostalgic or rosy, tint to their vision, say, truthfully, that the games that we have now are currently the greatest games we've ever had. And to them, that's
Well,
true.
you're trying to
because-
explain his mentality over this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Go ahead. Because I was just to argue with you. I'm like, oh wait, you're trying to explain his rationale. Okay.
Yeah. Like he's not looking at, you know, how it felt back in the day to play the first Halo. He's looking at it as like this newest Halo game is a superior game to the original Halo. And if you've been introduced, if you're looking at them both for the first time, or if you're looking at them without nostalgia in your eyes, he's right. He is technically correct. And so by that merit, I think he says this is the greatest generation because he views them to have the greatest Xbox games this generation, the best games that they've ever had, because there's a natural evolution. And it's not necessarily, he doesn't think it's necessarily like a musician, because a musician always has to say their newest work is their best, but they don't really burn out. Microsoft isn't going to burn out like a musician who's done too many drugs or who's quit drugs. It's
the thing is, it's really just about selling these things. I mean, to be honest, even if he thinks that things aren't going the right direction, he's not going to say that until years later, until the thing is out, you know, until it's already gone or you're on Xbox 720, you know.
Isn't that what Xbox One was supposed to be? But anyway, Adam, why is he wrong?
I think he's just saying what he has to say. You know what I mean? It's not so much about being wrong. It's just like, what do you expect him to say? It's like, damn,
he has to say that, but it's like, come on, bro. I didn't own a 360. I'm looking back at my 360 had a way better lineup than Xbox.
But again, you gotta understand, he's in the business of selling things. He's not gonna cause any more waves than what's already happened.
No, you don't have to believe it.
That's what I wanted to get.
No. Okay, you guys are looking at this wrong. You guys are looking at this wrong. Manny, would you say that you put out your best work this last year?
I have to think about that. To be honest, I don't know what it was. I was just trying to collect.
Look, I'm going to give you two examples right now. I'm going to give you examples right now. Brett, you had a 360, right?
Yeah.
Do you have an Xbox One?
No.
Why don't you have an Xbox One if you had a 360?
Because there's not enough exclusives.
Okay, that's what I want. Adam, same thing for you. You have an Xbox One, but you jumped ship. Why did you do that?
Because of the OS. The OS kept crashing. It had all these issues. It was too clunky. I couldn't deal with it, and I was just like, I put it aside for a while, and then I just said, you know what? Let me play my PS4. I have some exclusives on it. I played The Order, and then I just liked the interface, and it was smooth. And then I just said, you know what? I'll just stick with this.
You didn't do that with the 360, though, did you?
No, the PS3 was crap.
Tony, you asked two different questions. You asked why I don't have a 360.
Well, you thought that was a better system. 360 than Xbox.
Yeah, but the reason I abandoned ship is because 3 of my 360s caught fire.
There's no excuse. Fire ain't a problem.
I'm actually glad you said it, because as great as the 360 was, it'll always have that stain, right? Everybody in here that's on a 360 has owned like 3 versions at least, you know. But we're talking about games here specifically. But that's where I'm coming at it from. Like, Phil, I understand your position, Phil, but you can't like really say you have better games now than you did back then. You had way better games.
That's the thing. It's like you're not gonna get a fully, you know, he's already drinking the punch, and he's not gonna, even if he has a different.
He's not drinking the punch. He's serving the punch. You know,
he's serving
the punch.
He's serving the punch. So he's obviously not going to say there's something wrong with the punch.
This shit is the best shit.
This shit is the best shit that you ever tasted. That's it right there. You know.
Oh man! All right, Chris, get in here, man. And then Carlos, you go next.
Yeah, well, it's simple. Like, you know, Phil has the same job as like Reggie or any of these other guys. Yeah, well, I'll give Phil you know, props over Reggie. Reggie would never say Horizon is a fantastic game or anything like that. He would never give cross props to anything outside Nintendo. So I give Phil a lot of credit for that. Well, yeah, he has to say that, but we know it's not true. Just like when he said that when they canceled Scalebound, it was better for gamers. Or like, that's a load of shit. Well, you know it. We know it. Like, come on, man. Are you for real? Having less games is better for us?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
But he has to
too
say
many
that.
games. Too many games gives me a headache, man. It's like I want a small select group, maybe 2, maybe 3. Don't
But
give me a lot. Don't give me a lot.
That's not the greatest amount of,
It's just so
of
many
spin
games.
BS.
It hurts. It hurts.
Yes.
I can't. I wish I had less games, bruh.
Yeah, you know, Reggie's still the king of that when he said that 1-2 Switch wasn't bundled with this with the actual system to give gamers more choice of what to buy, and I was like, that is the most retarded thing I have ever heard.
A choice of what to buy. I think 1-2 Switch. The reason why 1-2 Switch is not with it is because they even though I don't think 1-2 Switch is as good as the Wii U Me games, I think that they want people to go out and buy that game and
Yeah,
make that
they want extra money. Yeah, it's all about money. So that's complete nonsense. But like, yeah, I know Phil. Something happened with Scalebound that must have enraged him, and he canceled it. Right? I know it. Like Platinum screwed up somehow, and he canceled that game. But he had to say something. He can't just go, yo, I went to Tokyo and this shit is jacked up, and I canceled it. So there, like, you can't say that, right?
Maybe he saw Scalebound and then he saw fucking Nier. He's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Why is our game a piece of shit and Nier looks awesome?
I still find it funny that Hideki Kamiya actually blocked Xbox and Phil Spencer.
Oh shit! Oh, I didn't even know that, man. Damn, see that? There's some bad blood right there. Something went down.
Oh no, Kamiya does. He instantly gets those. He has a zero tolerance.
Yeah,
he has a zero tolerance plan with everything. But yeah, like you remember when friggin' the Mighty Number 9 shit was happening, right? And he like was literally just railing on what's his face?
Inafune, yeah.
Inafune. He's like, oh yeah, that guy can't be trusted, blah blah blah. And then everybody's coming down on him. But I'm like, well, like how folks. I mean, he kind of knew something you guys didn't know.
Yeah, look how Mighty Number 9 actually came out. Kamiya knew what was up.
He knew what was up.
Oh, man. All right, Carlos, get in here, man. What do you make of Phil's statement?
So, the console that introduced Gears of War, Mass Effect, BioShock, Halo 3, Lost Odyssey, and you're comparing it to what's out right now? Like, come on, man. Like, I know you have to be a fucking cheerleader for your system, but you got to be like, at least got to be some, like, show some truth to your fan base. Like what Chris said, that whole Scalebound thing is not good. Like it was a good thing for your gamers. Just say it was a failure. Like there's like, I don't understand why you can't say that. Like Phil's one of those guys that most of the time like expresses the truth, and he talks like what, like his mind to his fans. So like him saying this it's just fucking not true. Like I don't even know how like even the most opinionated person can believe that the Xbox One has been better than the Xbox 360.
Yeah, it's something only an executive could say. Let's just be honest.
And then to be honest, he didn't have his little spin meisters there to kind of to write.
Aaron Greenberg.
he didn't have the spin meisters there and behind the scenes, kind of finding alternate ways of saying the same things. So
yeah, how much engagement was going on during the Xbox 360 era?
Exactly.
Let's just be real. That going back to that tweet from Kotaku saying that they need to own the living room and do what Valve couldn't do. Like he's absolutely right. Like they
I
don't
agree.
have the games. Like you need to pitch the hardware that way because you don't really have anything else. You lost exclusives. If they had big games coming out for Scorpio, they would be shouting it from the rooftops already.
I don't know. I feel like they would hold back a little bit. I mean, they want a surprise.
They didn't hold back last gen.
I know, and it hurt, at least for this one.
Yeah, because you wouldn't hold back because you need to build confidence for the system so people would buy something like Halo Wars knowing that there's something better coming along. You actually help games that are less desirable do better if you have announcements down the road, like you have these big games coming, but instead they haven't said anything.
Yeah, it's insane. Rich, get in here, man. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so let me just go ahead and say this right now. I think we all know that Phil Spencer had the unfortunate task of inheriting what Don Matrix messed up when the Xbox One launched. I feel as though now he says a lot of stuff to try and please the fans or try to please everybody. Because the thing is, he says a lot of crazy stuff on Twitter. He also talks to these Xbots that you guys refer to on a regular basis. Yep. So, I mean, I think obviously, he needs to have a filter and then sometimes just not say anything. But obviously, this statement was 100% incorrect. Xbox 360, there was so many great things with that system. You also can say the fact that a lot of the ports they had in the very beginning were great. Remember, they had an opportunity to get Mass Effect as an exclusive, and then they said, we're not going to do that. And now this is why Mass Effect is now on everything. So yeah, I mean, I disagree with him saying this is great Xbox One generation. No, obviously wants to try to say it to try to remain confident, show people that he is confident in the brand. But if he was very honest and just said we need to improve across the board, people would, I think, respect that a lot more because it's direct.
Yeah. By the way, I find it funny that we're kind of saying he needs to cool it on Twitter, just like our president, maybe. Like you guys need filters on Twitter, man. Shit. But yeah, Phil's like, again, going back to what we were talking about, Phil, why are you giving these dudes legitimacy? Stop talking to these guys. I think some of their crazes is like filtering into him now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's filtering.
Yeah.
He's creating that bubble, man. He's creating that bubble where he's just gonna hear what he wants to hear. Like these people just praising him for everything they do, even like if the thing is fucking horrible. And going back to what Chris said at the very end, they have said something, man. They said wait to E3. That's the best they can do.
Every year is like that this generation. Wait till E3, and then after E3, wait till the fall.
Yeah.
And then nothing happens,
Right, but Scorpio launches in the fall. Like, you can't build momentum like that, keep everybody waiting and not saying anything, not even teasing something. Tease something. Show the damn Crackdown symbol. Show something that people have something to look forward to, right?
Yeah, put the Battletoads shirt back on,
Oh God,
something.
Yeah.
hey, at least when the Sony guy was wearing the Crash Bandicoot game shirt, at least there was a Crash Bandicoot game being made.
Well, Manny, you just kind of ruined the flow here. So we're gonna go back to this topic. We're gonna talk about Crash Bandicoot right now. We're moving it up the queue, as Brian would say. Okay, so Manny and I were having fun with some of these like ignorant people on Twitter this week. Okay, so PlayStation, the PlayStation Ireland, they said something that Crash Bandicoot N-sane Trilogy is coming to PlayStation first. Brett?
Yeah.
You got something to say, or Chewbacca wants to say something?
No, sorry.
So they tweeted that it's coming to Xbox first, not Xbox, to PlayStation first. People were like, what do you mean first? You mean it's not exclusive? And people lost their fucking minds, right? And I'm like, guys, Crash is an Activision game.
Yes.
It could come to any console it wants to be.
In fact, 3 of the 3 Crash Bandicoot games were on Xbox as well as GameCube the generation before.
Yep.
So
I guess everybody just forgot about that.
You forgot about that shit? You forgot when Crash had fucking tribal tattoos all over his body? You don't remember that shit? I know, because that game fucking sucked.
Yeah, people's just short memories. I'm like, guys, and then people are like, oh, but this is a mainstay PlayStation franchise. No, it hasn't been for 10 fucking years. What are you talking about?
And not to mention, the thing is that even from when Universal Games was making the Crash Bandicoot games, those are still they're still third party. Sony never owned any of it. The only thing that they did was that they actually assisted in the creation of the game. So remember you heard of Mark Cerny, that guy? He was like a go-between with Naughty Dog on that project, as well as Spyro the Dragon. Spyro is not a fucking Sony property either.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just funny seeing these dudes just losing it,
Oh, wait. Did you remember that DLC that came out for Skylanders? That was also on Xbox, right? With Crash Bandicoot?
But what's the other thing I wanted to, now I lost my train of thought, but these are just being dumb, not understanding, like, oh, wait, this is the thing. Manny, you and I got heat for this, apparently, right? Because we said that Crash Bandicoot is a niche franchise now. How could you say that? Look at the sales compared to Zelda. I'm like,
have
okay,
you
go back 20 years, it wasn't niche. It's fucking niche now, okay?
Have you put, here's the thing, like, obviously it's because they're making the new one. It's like, that's the thing that everybody remembers. But there's a whole list of fucking Crash games that nobody played or nobody gave a shit about. And all of a sudden now you give a shit?
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, now you give a shit. After all of a sudden now you give a shit because they're doing this. But yet, no, what about the other games that they made in the franchise? There's other games.
Yeah, they have like a racing.
In fact, some of them you can still buy on Xbox Live.
Yeah, I linked to one of them, you know. But yeah, I just find it funny that people are saying, "Oh, like how come when Microsoft loses exclusives, everybody goes crazy, but when Sony loses exclusives, no one gives a shit."
They didn't lose an exclusive because it was never one.
What are you talking about? You know, it's insane. People, you know,
I mean, to be honest,
people are just they're trying to fit a narrative. That's what it is. You know,
exactly. It's number one. It's like, you know, I'm glad that they're doing a new, you know, they're doing a nice little upgrade on Crash Bandicoot. But you know what? That's all it is. You know, it's a budget. It's going to be a budget title. What is it going to be, like $40, right? 30, $40?
Something like that.
So, you know, guys, just enjoy it. You know, you can play it on both Xbox and PlayStation. You know, maybe you Xbox guys will play it. Maybe you won't.
You know, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like you know, by the way, Sony deleted that tweet, which I found very interesting because I think they let it slip. But again, people shouldn't be surprised. It's an Activision franchise.
Yeah, it is an Activision franchise. You know, yes, they had it on their stage. Yes, it has that connection to Sony, but you know, Metal Gear Solid is also not a Sony title either, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It first appeared on there. I know.
I'll kill you. Where's Phil Spencer?
There was a time when people thought Final Fantasy was a Sony franchise.
I remember that. Oh, yeah, it was Sony that made Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone always understood that they had just a great working relationship. I mean, there's history there, so
they didn't understand it. Apparently, these dudes going crazy.
I mean, again, it's like that was the beginning of, you know, the beginning of the PlayStation generation. You know, if you ever watch, there's a really great documentary that goes through the time of Naughty Dog within, you know, making Crash Bandicoot, and they talked about it, where it's like, you know, they had a choice to make a GameCube game or to make a PlayStation game, and they decided to make a PlayStation game. So, you know,
that's it. You know,
Crash could have been a GameCube game.
Didn't you say they shopped it around and nobody wanted it?
No, it wasn't that they shopped it around. It was just that for that game, for Crash Bandicoot, they just done Way of the Warrior for 3DO.
What a classic!
And then after that, they were like, they decided, oh, you know, hey, let's continue to do games with these guys. You know, and that was credit. And they were like, okay, so there's this new thing coming out. There's like the GameCube and there's this thing, you know, when they decided to go with the PlayStation.
No, Brett, you got to chill out with that Chewbacca tonight, man.
Never.
Somebody's texting him.
It's crazy. All right, let's move on here. Speaking about exclusives, this happened tonight, by the way. So Sunset Overdrive could possibly be coming out to other systems, no matter what Microsoft says. This was Ted Price, right, the head of Insomniac. He was asked by Game Informer, hey, why haven't we gotten a sequel to this game? And he said,
nobody wants it.
He goes, talk to Microsoft, suggesting that it's, you know, there's some kind of timed exclusivity deal, because after he goes, we do own the franchise and we're not going to rule out these games coming out on other systems in the future. So I'm guessing there's a timed exclusivity thing going on, you know. I hope this is true, because I'm going to tell you right now, to me, Sunset Overdrive is probably the best Xbox exclusive of this generation. Brilliant game. Nobody played it, though. You know, that game would be perfect.
I played it for half an hour. I gave it plenty of time. And
half an hour, bro.
Half an hour. I couldn't do it.
Wow, that game was fucking awesome, man.
No, it just didn't do it for me.
Yeah, you don't like anything unless it's fucking table tennis, man, or FIFA.
Table tennis, FIFA,
or an easy plat.
Easy plat.
Pussy plats, man.
Pussy plats.
No, I love Sunset, man. I beat that whole fucking game. That was brilliant. But it would probably be better on Sony. Sony guys would actually buy it, you know. Hell, you can even put it on Switch. I'm pretty sure those guys will be happy with it too, you know. So
like,
yeah,
it's not Splatoon. That's what'll happen.
Yeah, Rich, go ahead, man.
I have a question. Well, let me just say this real quick. I agree with everything you said about Sunset Overdrive. I actually reviewed the game on the site, and yeah, the game is fantastic. But let me ask you a serious question.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if this is a little bit controversial, but do you think that Microsoft may be a little upset that Insomniac is working on that Sony game, Spider-Man?
Oh, they're probably salty as shit. They're probably saltier than the Black Sea, you know?
Yeah, and they may be thinking, well, why didn't you make something like that for us? Instead, we get Sunset Overdrive. I just wanted to throw that question out there.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I mean, they probably are. Yeah, I mean, they could be. I can't say one way or the other.
Does Sony own the rights to Spider-Man?
Sony still owns the character rights to Spider-Man, so that's one reason. Secondly, he's a high-profile Marvel character. He's one of the highest-profile comic book characters in the world. So to turn down that project would be insane. And yeah, they're linked to Sony because they own the character. The movie rights, anything outside of comics, they own the rights.
Actually no, the video game rights is all. I think that's still
no, it's them. Look it up. It's the movie rights, and I think television, movie, anything in film, and the video game rights are Sony. Only the comic rights are Marvel.
Activision had it for a while, and there was no Sony involvement in that situation.
Yeah,
that was still done through Marvel.
Because remember, with the Spider-Man games, right? Yeah. Remember the Spider-Man movie games? Those were Activision, but Sony still had the rights to the character.
I think what came out of the Homecoming deal was Sony to have the rights to do a Spider-Man game.
Makes sense. Not that this game's tied to Homecoming, but that could have been the case, you know. But again, I guess Microsoft may lose another franchise, you know, because they didn't want to, you know, foot the bill or whatever to make a sequel, you know.
Damn.
It's a damn shame.
Here's the thing about Microsoft, and this goes all the way back to when the Microsoft first came out, right? You know, the original leader of the Microsoft brand was, I can't remember the name of the guy. Anyway, the reason why he left because they just released Halo, and you know, there was a bunch of other stuff coming. But as soon as he released that they released Halo, he noticed a change within the company that they weren't interested in fully, you know, developing a bunch of other, other IPs, where they're like, okay, we're at the top right now. Let's continue to push games that are like Halo or make more Halo games. And that's the problem. In general, Microsoft sees that they have a lot of the Microsoft success is like, well, we did really well with this. Let's just keep going with it rather than also creating the next thing. Sony didn't stop at God of War. Sony didn't stop at, a Ratchet and Clank. They continued to push these other titles. You have to have a collection of these things, not just like put all your pins into one basket.
Yeah. And then one of the other problems that I'm noticing with Microsoft, right, is every time they put out a new IP, right, again, I could be wrong. This is just the way I interpret it. They want all these games to be $1 million, like $1 million sellers or whatever. Like they want each game to sell like minimum 2 or 3 million, whatever the number would be. And if they don't meet those minimums, they don't make a sequel to that. Contrast that with Sony, right? They know Gravity Rush 2 Yakuza is not going to make $1 billion, but they put them out anyway. They know The Last Guardian is not going to make $1 billion, but they put that shit out there anyway. They don't care about that. But it seems like Microsoft, every game that they put out needs to meet X amount. And if it doesn't, you don't get it at all, And it's sad, man.
Here's the thing. Like, for obviously a game like Gravity Rush didn't have the same, have a huge budget. But they did the best of what they can. And the thing is that I'm sure that they've, with the sales around the world, it's probably paid for itself more than they have a really tiny team. And I'm sure it's paid off for that game. Well, and for Yakuza, the one thing about that is that the game is already made and the game already did well in Japan. So all this additional, releasing it over again, I mean, other than just doing the localization, the text localization, that's not a big investment.
Yeah, Chris, you gonna say something?
Yeah, I had a thought, but I lost it.
Uh-oh. Yeah, we were talking about just how they don't really give their exclusives time, like the proper shine.
Oh
they
yeah,
deserve.
well, that's one of the signs that, like Manny said, that they were just Microsoft just sticks with what they know is the divestment of Bungie from them. Bungie divested from Microsoft because they didn't want to become the Halo factory, which is what they were, right? While Sony will trust the studio to do different types of games, right? Who would think like, oh, you made Ratchet and Clank? Well, guess what? You're gonna make Spider-Man, right? Microsoft wouldn't do that. 343 specifically was put together from the ground up to be a Halo factory, and to consult on other types of shooters, but that's what they do.
And that's the coalition too. It's going to be the Gears factory.
It's going to be the Gears factory.
Not us, by the way. Just saying.
You wouldn't see, but then you see the contrast. You see a company like Guerrilla Games, the guys that are known for making Killzone. All of a sudden making a totally different game.
You know how this game came about, man? You know how this game came about? Sony didn't go, hey, we want this. Guerrilla said, hey, can we do this type of game? Sony's like, go for it. What do you need?
Yeah.
See, there's the difference.
Great. Also, what Hideo Kojima is doing right now with Death Stranding. You think Microsoft would let him do that if they got him? No, they'd be like,
they would have said, make Metal Gear.
Make him another Metal Gear.
Make Microsoft Metal Gear.
No, they would have been like, hey, we got your franchise back. We bought Konami. Now make more Metal Gear.
That's exactly what would happen, I think with Sony, like, okay, maybe they don't have as many like billion-dollar franchises or whatever, but they have so many franchises in general that it generates enough money for them, It's like, yeah, sure, Gravity Rush, why not? Whatever,
and then the thing about it is that they can call up any one of those things after they're done. So, like, I don't know, they decide, hey, let's do another SOCOM game. Okay, let's do that. They can pull up any one of these sorts of games from the past, obviously. But they can pull up any of the. They can make new games. They can also pull up games that people remember from the past.
Why is some random guys asking us if we want hot dogs? What the fuck? Kristen, keep an eye on that, man.
Manny, just for the sake of...
I knew Brian was going to jump in.
I'm good. Of course, you mentioned SOCOM. I'm just like just popping out of nowhere like, hey, what's up? Yeah, SOCOM will never happen again. SOCOM will never happen again because they closed down the studio.
And there lies another issue. Closing down a studio and then having another studio take over.
Oh no, Zipper's gone. Like,
I know Zipper's gone, but like let's say you do
the franchise is dead now. Like Zipper made that franchise. Like without Zipper, SOCOM. I'm sorry.
I know that they created SOCOM, but the thing is that doesn't stop a studio from saying, okay, let's make the new SOCOM game. But the problem with that stuff is that obviously the new one made by some other guys would probably not be as innovative as like the previous ones. It may not be as good.
Didn't that happen with Slant 6? Didn't they make another a SOCOM game? It was bad.
They did that in between, like at the early days of the PS3, but then Zipper came back to do SOCOM 4, and then it sucked.
And okay.
Didn't they make Mag as well?
Yep, they did.
Yeah.
Another game that PS3 owners didn't buy, and then it just fell off the cliff. And then they tried to recoup the losses with SOCOM 4, which was ass. And then, like Sony just said, goodbye, guys. We liked you, but goodbye.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Oh, but then again, Mag wasn't even all that to begin with. So, but it does suck. Like, come on, guys. Who is calling me during a podcast? Motherfuckers.
Somebody who obviously doesn't know that you're on a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. It's from New York too. Come on, man. I'm not picking that shit up. Anyway, I know we still got a couple more here. All right, this one it's fucked up, but it's also funny at the same time. Because we're always talking about console wars and shit, right? Apparently, the PC parts wars is even more hardcore. This two guys, I think they were Russian, they were getting into a debate about Nvidia versus AMD, and then ended up in murder.
Wow! All right.
This guy, they're both.
Was this in Russia?
Yeah, in Russia. Yeah. By the way, Russia is crazy.
It's crazy there, man.
No, check this out. Not only did he kill this man, admitted it. You know how much time he gets? 9 years in jail. Like, wait, you just murdered.
Maybe they were like, maybe they were like, you're very much right. Nvidia is much better than AMD.
But didn't Nvidia just win some kind of benchmark award for their new one?
In Russia, AMD is champion. I don't know. Nvidia. I don't know which one.
Yeah,
who was the guy who lost?
Yeah, no, the article I read, which is a little snarky, is like, oh yeah, the guy who lost was AMD, and that makes sense because Nvidia is better. I'm like, damn, son.
Wow.
That guy.
Wow, who wrote that? That wasn't a main company,
cold,
was
man.
it?
Yeah. Who wrote a PC Gamer? They're not like some bullshit like site either. They're a big site.
Man. Somebody should have been looking over that, a little
Dude,
bit.
I saw that story. I'm like, Tony, do not write about this shit. You're gonna get in trouble. But yeah, that's. I hope not to segue too much, but I hope the console war doesn't end like that one day. Like motherfuckers stab each other over PlayStation and Xboxes. It's crazy, man. Hey, listen, I'm just gonna say it right now. I will not be surprised if I get shot one day because I like PlayStation. Oh, man.
Because you have a PlayStation.
Yeah, Tony, man. I know you live in Palmanac, man. I'm coming for you. Oh, man.
Well, you just told him.
Yeah, they could come, whatever. It'll prove my point, Xbox are crazy.
So in other words, you want to become a martyr.
Yeah, that'll be my dying breath, right? I was right about Xbots. Oh, by the way, let me read you the final paragraph here. He goes, according to Buy24, Trofimov was recently sentenced after confessing to the crime, and he will serve 9.5 years in prison for the murder. He is an Nvidia fan, however, so he might be out a little faster. Oh, shit. Cold-blooded.
The judge has an Nvidia bias.
Yeah, right. I guess maybe they do in Russia. It's like you only get 9 years. You have Nvidia. If he was AMD, you get sent to the gulag. Oh man, Brian, get in here, man. This is right up your alley.
You know what I mean? Like I don't get into like the fanboy stuff.
No, you get it, but you get into the PC shit. What do you make of this, man? Murder over console, over PC parts, man. Nvidia versus AMD, the eternal struggle.
It's murder over pieces of plastic. It's just retarded. Like this is why like we can't have nice things. Like this is literally why we can't have nice things. Like NASA found like 7 new planets, but yet it's like, hey, you have a different piece of plastic than I do, so I'm gonna kill you. It's like what? But no, I honestly have no care to this. Like it's just stupidity. I'm more interested in the new AMD parts coming out. I think like next week. So
the Ryzen.
The Ryzen, yeah, that has me excited. I want to see like some good benchmarks because I need a new CPU upgrade anyway. So yeah, Tony, I don't care. Sorry.
All right, Brett, thoughts
on what exactly?
On this? These two dudes got into an argument over which is better,
AMD,
Nvidia, and murder.
It's anybody who's. It's just the same shit, man. It's the same shit as the console. Where like brand warring, man. Like all of you angry Xbox people, take a good hard look for this is your future.
Ooh.
Oh shit. By the way, it's hip hop calling me. Why is he calling me?
You heard what you said. You heard what you said.
I got a new phone, so I had no idea who the fuck it was. All right. Anyway,
text that fool. See what's up.
That's what I'm doing. I'm like, can I call you back? Like, I'm on Throwdown. It's Thursday, motherfucker.
You don't know. You don't watch this show.
He's been on it.
He's been on it.
Listen. You know, there's our dimension, and then there's the world of hip hop. And the world of hip hop, we only exist until he's on the show.
Shit.
He says, "Put me on." Okay.
Okay. What's this? Look, can we get through all of our topics before we get him on?
No, let's see where this goes.
Here we go.
I'm putting this shit on speaker. Let's see where this goes. It's gonna be interesting.
Hello?
Yo, what's up, man?
All right, I'm right here.
Who is this?
This is Domino's. You ordered Domino's?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, all right, man. I apologize.
Okay. So that wasn't the number.
Hey, Tony.
I was getting 2 phone calls.
Hey, Tony. He said he delivering pineapple pizza.
Yeah.
Tell him to get the hell out of here.
Oh, man. So wait, so your number in the phone, your number to call hip hop is actually Domino's?
He doesn't know my address. Hip hop's like, I ordered you a pizza. And like, no, you didn't. You don't know my address. Let me get this man on the phone. I'm gonna call that number again.
Did he order you a pizza?
Let me call this number again. Hold on, this is gonna be funny. I don't know what's going on tonight. This is interesting.
And so
Domino's? What are Domino's, man? He doesn't know my address.
And so the show goes to a grinding halt.
This is hilarious.
Wait for hip hop gamers / Domino's to answer the phone.
No, I'm gonna call the actual number now. What the fuck is going on tonight? He's derailing the show.
You know what? At this point, let's move on, man, because we're holding shit up.
This is hilarious to me. The fuck is this shit? I think it's Torrance fucking with me. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
You really know how to fuck up a joke.
It's Torrance. Motherfucker, you know I'm doing throwdown and shit.
I planned this joke. I planned this joke last week and you fucked it up.
Okay, explain the joke because I don't get it. You're live, by the way. You're live, by the way.
Call that dude back and get that goddamn pizza.
What pizza? You don't know my address. Oh, wait, Torrance does know my address. Oh, shit.
Of course I have your address. Why do you think I talked to you about Flushing earlier?
Oh, shit.
Oh, man.
Oh, shit.
Oh, call him back.
Watch that be a pineapple pizza.
It probably is. I'm not picking that shit up.
Oh, come on. Pick it up.
I'm in the middle of the show with Torrance.
I gave you cheese.
Man.
Yeah,
come on, please.
He's like, I gave you cheese.
Don't do that to that pizza driver, Tony. You call that motherfucker back.
Hey, I didn't order him. You
Call him back. Just hang up and call him back.
Possibility.
What's the number?
Hold on. This is Torrance. Oh, man. Troll backfired.
That poor pizza guy.
Well, Torrance, you should have thought about this, man, beforehand. You know?
Dude, Tony.
What? Brett, a guy tells me I ordered pizza and I didn't. You think I'm going to say yes? Get the fuck out of here. That guy could have came in to kill me or something,
especially
you know?
Fucking Domino's. Come on, man.
No, if Domino's too, get the fuck out of my house, you know? All right. The number is 718-734-8017.
I like the way we just said that on the air. So now people are just going to call up that number.
Oh, my God.
Come on, dude. That's why I said wait till the fucking pizza.
All right, Torrance, you handle this shit. Torrance fucking it up. Oh, well, I don't even know what's going on anymore, you know? How are you going to order pizza to somebody's house and Domino's on top? Get that shit out of here. I don't want that, you know?
I do. I'm hungry.
Anyway, well, you're in Iowa now. You know, Domino's is probably the best you could get out there, you know? All right, and the last thing here, Chris, I threw this in here for you. No virtual console on Switch on launch.
Yeah, hilarious, man. Hilarious. I saw this guy on Twitter and he nailed it, man. He nailed it. All these guys looking forward to this shit. He was like, I'm enjoying PS1 games on my Vita right now. And I'm like, you know, that says it all. Like they're not okay. I think Emily Rogers tweeted today a list of things that they're not going to have at launch, right? This thing is not ready. Let's just be real. Let's just lay it all out.
We've said this multiple times, yes.
Yeah. This is all for the benefit of investors and shareholders. This is so they can walk into that end of fiscal year meeting in April and boast, right? But it's going to backfire.
Yeah, and you know why there's no virtual console at launch? Because there's virtually no console at launch.
Oh, I like that one. Yeah. So okay, they have no virtual console, no media of any kind, no streaming, no nothing. No web browser, so and no Street Pass and Miiverse, that's out. So all the staples that they would have had that would make this a multi-functional device is gone, right? And here's my main problem, and I thought about this. Like, you don't have a web browser. So I know things in Japan work different, and they got Wi-Fi everywhere, and you probably it's probably open, you can hook it up or whatever. We don't have that luxury. So you want to take your Switch on vacation or whatever, you go to a hotel, they give you a passcode to get on the Wi-Fi. How do you use it?
That's a good question. Yeah.
How do you use it?
Or a hotel, you know.
99% of them use have a portal through a website that allows you to access their Wi-Fi. Guess what? You don't got a web browser. You know, and I know fanboys are going to spin this. You're going to get on your little pommel horse in your brain and spin it around like, oh, you got a phone. No, that is not the point. The point is you want a multifunctional device. The Switches should be capable of doing all these things. And Nintendo gets in their own goddamn way once again, and they fail to include even the most basic functionality. You wouldn't even need to worry about streaming services if it had a web browser, because you could access Netflix and Hulu and all that stuff through a browser. But you didn't even do that. It's just goddamn pathetic. So I can't wait. Like, I'm just waiting for this launch. I'm waiting for this thing to bomb, and I'm waiting for that investors meeting. Oh, you guarantee I'm going to be watching that, and just wait. Like I said, wait 30 days and then wait 90 days and just see this thing collapse. And I give this 12 months. The next end of fiscal year meeting they have with their investors will be the swan song. Will be exactly what Sega did 15 years ago. Tap out. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, man. By the way, hold on, because I saw Kaz Hirai, you know, CEO Kaz Hirai. So
Big one.
Yeah. So Jason Schreier, going back to him, he tweeted out, virtual console games will not be available on Switch at launch. And Kaz Hirai goes, you know, CEO Kaz Hirai, the fake parody one, he goes, they may as well take the first two words off that statement. Games will not be available on Switch at launch. You know, but here's the thing. Okay, we all know the Nintendo Switch is going to launch with practically nothing, right? I think they got less than 10 games, right? You could have offset that by having a bunch of games on the virtual store, right? Nope.
Also, let me add that they supposedly give you the silly online access for free, right? Remember what was one of the rewards with the online access? You get virtual console games.
Yeah. So what do you get? Because
you don't get shit. You get the ability to go online for a month, and then I'm sure right on the dime when everybody's little free month of whatever is gone, that's when all the other shit's going to show up.
Well, I'm curious if they're going to launch the same lame set of games that they had on the NES Classic. I'm not, and you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about fucking Balloon Fight and all those games that nobody cares about. Like, if that's what you're gonna put out day one, it's like, hey, you get Balloon Fight, and you know, like, no, like it's just pathetic. And this is the thing. Everybody, I know somebody's gonna come back to me later on Twitter and say, "Oh, Zelda, that's it. That's the go-to thing." Zelda, yeah, Zelda. You're somehow 3 million strong. Yes, I'm sure you're in contact with all 3 million other Zelda fans, because that number sounds legit. And you all talk all the time, right? And you all sign contracts that you will purchase this game on day one. So, you know, so, you know, that insanity, but it's like, you're not getting anything. There has to be other reasons to buy the system.
Here's the long and short of it, I think, is that Nintendo, with the history that it's had, needs to come out with a strong showing. It hasn't had good third-party support. It hasn't had very good first-party support in terms of the names of the number of games that it's able to release. It's been staggering on its last legs, and what it needed to do here was prove to people that it's a real system with real support. And it tried to do that, and it built that idea out of smoke and mirrors, but it's quickly becoming apparent that, as Chris said, this is just, you know, a bare bones thing being rolled out to appease investors, which is the opposite of the strong showing that Nintendo needs. I almost feel like this is bound to fail, because when it comes out, you know, held together by bubble gum and duct tape, it barely does anything. And at that, you know, does it only moderately well. Like, it's going to be a disaster. Like what they needed was to have 5 to 7 strong games that you need. They needed to have Donkey Kong. They needed to have Zelda. They needed to have Mario. They needed to have Smash Brothers. They needed to have Mario Kart. They needed to have all this shit just right out of the gate to make this must-have system.
Well, not just out of the gate, the system needed to be ready. There's already reports. Look at Polygon today, and look at Kotaku and a bunch of other guys talking about Joy-Con connectivity issues. They're playing Zelda. They're doing stress tests, and the Joy-Cons are disconnecting while they're playing it. So the hardware is not ready. Like, they're having connectivity issues. So so we're going to repeat history with the Wii U, and you're going to have a gigantic day one patch, just like before. And I know fanboys are going to say, "Oh, well, everybody has connectivity issues." No, that's not true at all. I've seen that rhetoric on Twitter, and that's complete bullshit. There was nothing in the day one patch for Xbox One or PS4 that had anything to do with connectivity issues for the controllers. So squash that nonsense. This is because this half-baked system is not ready, and it's not ready because they're rushing out the door to get it out to please investors. And it's going to do the exact opposite. If you release this thing with hardware failing, man, this is going to be worse than I thought.
This seems like a plot off of Arrested Development. Like, this is a Bluth company product.
By the way, Chris, everyone in the chat is going, Chris, what's up? What's going on? What do you think of the connectivity issues that the Joy-Cons are having? What's going on now?
It's losing sync with the system. So the Joy-Cons, when you disconnect them and you put them in your hands, right, and you're not connected to the Switch, they're working over Bluetooth or whatever, right? They're losing sync with the Switch. So these guys are playing Zelda, and they showed it. There's one guy with the video showing that the error screen pops up. It says you sync your controller, right in the middle of the game. And this is being reported by multiple outlets. Polygon even had a whole article about this morning.
That's how it's better to actually play with the Pro controller,
with the Pro controller, right? And but the Joy-Con was the main thing advertised. So with the Pro controller is extra, right? Which, yes, big boy gamers would go out like us, would go out and get that, would play with that thing. But for everyone else looking forward to using it the way they advertised it with the Joy-Cons and stuff, well, you screwed that up now. And you're going to need a huge firmware patch day one, and you better have it out day one. You better not have it out day 5. People are going to be pissed. And you better be able to fix this. This better not be a deep hardware issue where there's some antenna problem or whatever. That's manufacturing issues. And I talked about this. I said, don't be the one out the gate to get this. Pre-ordering systems is a bad idea. Why? Because you could have serious hardware defects. And if this turns out to be a hardware defect, then everybody pre-ordering is screwed because there's no way to fix it. And Nintendo better be ready to shell out whatever it takes to recall systems or whatever, or recall Joy-Cons.
It's going to be a mess, man. It's going to be brutal. Nintendo. Well, it comes out next week, so we'll see, I guess I'm going to be doing an unboxing, too. Am I the only one? Carlos, you're getting a day one, too, aren't you?
Yeah. If it's
we'll be the guinea pigs. These things are going to be all fucked up on launch,
Oh, yeah, man. No fucking web browser. No fucking virtual console. One game that I want.
It's gonna be awesome.
I think I'm really pissed off at torrents right now. Man, I'm livid. But
did you call back for the pizza?
Man, fuck that bullshit pizza. Fuck Domino's. I don't want that shit in my house. All right.
Somebody orders you a free motherfucking pizza
without telling you. Don't tell somebody, hey, if somebody calls you, hey, I got a pizza for you. Did you order pizza? They're gonna rob you. You don't take that shit.
Yeah, my man Tony lives in the fucking projects. He's gonna let any Tom, Dick, and Harry who says I got a pizza for you to come in there. Come on, man.
That's telling me no. You don't open the door.
How would he know your phone number and address?
What happened?
How would he know your phone number and address if he weren't?
Because Torrance gave it to him, obviously.
No, if he weren't the pizza guy, though.
Well, who knows, man? I don't know. They could have hacked some shit. I don't know. That's a situation you don't jump into blindly. Somebody offers you free pizza, you better watch the fuck out, especially you live in the projects. Don't take that shit. Torrance fucked up. I'm sorry he lost his money, but he shouldn't have done that bullshit in the first place. You should have known me better. I wouldn't. Somebody knocks free pizza. No, I'm not opening that fucking door. Next thing I'm going to get shot in the head. Fuck that. Maybe living in Massachusetts, it's all right over there. You could do that shit, but not in New York, man. Anyway, I'm still pissed off, so let's wrap this up. So thank you for watching and listening. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Throwdown Show. Links are available in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco, and tonight is joined by Emilio Lopez.
Yo, man, don't open that door. See you later, guys.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out, guys. Brian
Manjoma.
Yeah, don't argue with dumb people on Twitter. They'll just block you and run away.
There's a story behind that. Brett Murdoch.
What's your favorite dinosaur?
Adam Vale.
I don't like dinosaurs now. Now I hate them all.
Motherfucker. And Richard Bailey Jr.
Stay away from pineapple pizza.
Yes. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Later.
Later.
Peace.
Later, guys.